Howdy ho, pals. Welcome to... I don't know what I'm doing. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back. Hey. I'm a professional at this, and I've done this for many years. My name is Sam, and welcome to a scavenger hunt for my 150th book. At the time of this recording, I have read 148, which means I have wiggle room to read one more thing, like tomorrow at work or something, and then it's go time. It's time to read my 150th, which is my goal for the year. I always aim to read 150 every year, like bare minimum, which I understand, like, for a lot of people, that's a lot of books, and I agree with you, but I had 1 month where I read 40 books, and I had another month where I read like 4. So it really varies month to month for me, but objectively 150 is doable. Last year I read 269, so this year's like unsaid big goal is 270, because Goodreads, oh god, Goodreads. Ugh. So, as you may know, Goodreads has these little like bookmarks and their challenges that you can do throughout the year. So each quarter has a set of like, let's say 6 or so bookmarks. And then there's also monthly bookmarks for reading or logging a book in that month. But then there's also like end of year stuff where it's like, beat your goal. And so now I'm at the point where it's like, well, I have to read 270. Because if you gamify something to me, I'm going to commit. We are 7 months into the year, and I have read nearly 150, which I think is on par to last year. I'd have to go back and look when I did my last scavenger hunt. But that one I had used different prompts that my friends had submitted on Instagram. This time we're going back to the tried and true. We're going back to Kayla's scavenger hunt prompts. The first one is to grab your favorite book, go to the acknowledgments, and the first name you see, find an author with the same name. I can finally talk about this. By the time you see this Battle of the Booktuber video will be out. I've not been able to talk about this all year. Is this still like my best #1 book of the year? I don't know. But as of June, it was the first book that really gave the absolute strongest 5-star energy. I was kicking my feet. I had so much fun. If you want to see the reading vlog, please go to check it out. I had really a good time reading this. So this is Immortal Dark by Tigest Germa, and I really like this. It's dark academia, it's vampires, it's a mystery, there's like a lot to it. It's like enemies to lovers. Basically we're following Kidan, whose sister Jude, something like that, is missing, and she's going back to her roots of culture that she's completely lost. She doesn't know the language anymore, she doesn't know the people, like it's just so foreign to her at this point in her life after moving away as like basically a baby. But she goes back to this school where vampires coexist and they have to stay at the school, and she has a house, but the vampire that lives in her house, Sugetsu I think is a Naruto character. Susenyos is his name though. Different. And so she meets him, and he's trying to own this home and have, you know, more power within the university, and she's like, no way, Jose. So they're kind of like enemies, but they also have to like reluctant ally work together, but she also thinks that he might have done something to her sister. Like, it's very a lot going on. The sequel comes out in November. This is gonna be a trilogy. You bet your bottom I will be sat the second book comes out. I actually plan on buying both of them in store day of release. So I'm gonna get a normal edition, not special. This is the Owl Crate edition. I'm gonna get a normal edition, reread it, annotate the hell out of it because I love this book that much, and then I'm gonna read the second book. It's gonna be a good time. I'm so excited. So anywho, enough of this. Off to the acknowledgments I go. First name I see. Oh, it's just C. I don't have to point. That's later. The hard part will be finding names that are more common than not. Megan. Megan is the first name. I think I have a Megan on my shelf. I sure do. Okay, the next one is pick something on the cover and find another book with the same thing in the title. That's so hard. This is nothing. It's a road. It's a road. Wow, this is going a lot quicker than it usually does. I usually struggle. Murder Road by Simone St. James. Haven't read it. Special edition. Watch Katie Coulson's video if you want spoilers. Prompt number 2. Go to page 50, line 5. Pick a word from that line and find a title with that word. Page 50, line 5. Annoyed. They verified you have a reservation. You have a. Might be the easiest. I don't think I have anything with verified. I have Verity, but I don't have that anymore. My mom has it. I don't think I have anything with reservation. So that leaves us with they, you, have a. I feel like everything could easily come off my thriller horror shelves. Okay, so apparently the thriller horrors it is. I don't have anything with have in the title, oddly enough. So I'm going with you know what you did. Prompt number 4, find a 5-star read with the same colors on the cover. So this is clearly like greens and blues. I have to find a 5-star. So I feel like we can scour this section of my fantasy because it's color coordinated. The lack of 5 stars on my shelf is so disappointing. Okay, it's so hard to know. Should we be going for like the teal color or should we be going for the green? Because if it's going to be both, hard pick, if even possible. So I'm trying to go like which feels more important. The cover feels like blue and black, whereas the letters, the title, is green. It's a bit of a stretch, but we're going to go with Mayfly because, you know, like the teal is there. There's a hint of red. We're going to go with it. The only other option I had was the Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz, but it just feels a little too light. At least this has like some black. But truly, the amount of books that I have with like bright green neon titles, I have too many. It's weird. Prompt number 5 is find a book with the same number of pages. Of course, I pick a small shorty. Okay. 271. 261. 264. For things in this room, I think Starter Villain is going to be the closest we're going to get without me having to like scour the classics. I don't have a whole lot of shorties on my shelf. I feel like novellas are often so expensive, and just like short books in general, like this is an aardvark, that's fine. But sometimes they're like so expensive and you're like, I don't know if you're worth $30 for like 100 pages. So anywho, prompt number 6. Flip open to any page. The first name you see, find a book by an author who shares the name. Okay, any page. I kind of want to go closer to the front because I haven't read this. Morrison. Okay, I don't own any Toni Morrison books. Chesterfield, Fitzer, Russell, Minks, and Andrew Ross. Those are both possible. Boom. The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. This is an author I really want to read. I think I'm going to wait until their 2026 release, and then I'm going to do a dedicated author vlog and just read like all 4, bang them out. Because I know this is like the first one you read, and then her second book you should read because they're like set in the same world with same characters and cameos, so you want to like be in the know. So I'm very excited though. I think this will be a good author for me. Prompt number 7 is to find another title with the same number of letters. Oh god, that's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17's not too bad. I can do 17. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The hard part will be remembering it's 17. Don't forget. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So close. So I just unhauled this, or just hauled this. I just opened this in an unboxing, which you'll probably see before this. I don't know what my schedule is right now, but this is A Forbidden Alchemy. It's a romantasy second book by this author who is popular, I believe, on TikTok and Instagram for bits and skits and stuff. I need to find a book with a similar cover. So this is a bird on a like potion or ink bottle or something with a cage. That's kind of hard. Like the bird part maybe I could do. But the cage part, honestly, this maybe is a stretch, but you've got a cage on the spine here and a bird up at the top. Focus. And then you've got another bird, the cage. I feel like not that similar, but similar themes, you know? Like the vibes are kind of the same. They both have like a fairy tale look to them. Different colors, different styles, both have gold. I think it counts. And then this is going to be the last prompt, so I have to pick a book that I've not read. Flip to a random page, pick a word, find that word in the book of the title on your TBR shelf. I read that poorly. It's fine. I read this before, so we don't have to worry. I think that we're better off with the open and point method. I'm not reading it. You can't make me. This is usually the part of the video where I struggle. Maybe extreme. Till. So there is a book, Till Death. It's the first book in the Never Sky series by Miranda Lynn. I don't own it, but it's on KU, and I could get the audiobook right now. That's a solid contender. I think we might get maybe 2 or 3 picks to see if there's something on my physical TBR I could read, just out of like pure vibes of reading a book with you guys. I feel like Into the Drowning Deep is a possibility. Again, I don't physically own it though. New. Burning. Ooh. Again, we're getting a lot of like audiobook options, which isn't as satisfying to like watch me read. I understand that. Princess. Oh. The Princess Kills Monsters. That could also be really fun. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be straight. I'm gonna be honest with you in this video. I would love if it was not only a book on my like physical TBR, which is huge, which is always annoying, where it's like I have a really big library and I can never find books to go with the words. But also, it would be great if this could be a 5-star, because a 5-star prediction or something. I would love to get a 5-star. Behind the bar. I don't want to go with the is too easy. Behind, though, maybe. Leave the World Behind is on my physical, but this is also for another video that you'll be seeing soon. So, not that one. Last page. Can I find it? It's not very random, but restless. I don't think that's a word. A word you would use in a book title, I mean. Moon. It's not fully moon, but I do have Blood in the Moonlight that has been on my TBR for quite some time that I could potentially read. Good contender, good contender. Okay, let's get one more physical option. Hopefully, maybe. Grade Bone. Oh goodness, Bone was too good. Now I have too many options. I will not be reading Bones in the Midnight Soil. You can't make me. No. But I could read Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I could read Shadow and Bone. I could read The Bone Witch. I could read The Bone House. The Bones of Ruin, which I've been in the middle of forever. Children of Blood and Bone. Wake the Bones. Silver in the Bones. Your Blood in My Bones is the one I was thinking. The Sins on Their Bones. Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil. A Curse Carved in Bone. Oh, Bone was too good. Now I have too many options. And a lot of these are on my physical TBR. But this is a sequel, an ending to the Saga of the Unfated. I believe this is the conclusion, because it's just a duology. The first book was A Fate Inked in Blood. I really enjoyed it. It was a 4-star for me. I enjoyed one of the halves more than the other halves. I don't really remember which half was better. I did like it. It was predictable, but I really like Daniel L. Jensen. I've read everything in the other series on Amazon. You know the one. The Bridge Kingdom. I remember. So this is a very good contender, but there's so many options now that I'm like kind of struck. But I think this will be a good one. It's not too long, so it'll be fun, but it is a sequel, which means I can't really talk about it that much, which won't be fun for like a dedicated reading vlog to my 150th. This is so complicated. This was actually a really hard decision, but I've decided to go with The Sins in Their Bones by Laura R. Samatin. This is inspired by Jewish folklore, and it's, let me just read it to you. Set in a Jewish folklore-inspired reimagining of 19th century Eastern Europe. This queer, dark fantasy debut pits two estranged husbands and a daring spy master on opposite sides of a civil war. I'm rather excited for this one. I don't want to know too terribly much going in, but it kind of is giving, I don't think there's vampires, but it's kind of giving The Mistress of Lies, which I loved. This is a special edition from Owl Crate. I've had it for a little bit. I haven't touched it like I should. And so I think it would be nice to read something on my shelf, something that sounds fantastic. I'm really excited for this one. I really hope that I like it, obviously. I've been wanting to read it for so long, and now happens to be the perfect time. So this will be my 150th book. I will read something in between. I think a book that is due from my library here soon, I'll read that. And then I'll jump into this. That's so exciting. So wow. Okay, let me make this stack a little bit nice so it doesn't fall on me or my cat. From my favorite book of the year to hopefully my next favorite of the year. This will be so exciting, but this was our journey. Quite the adventure to get here. Thank you. Thank you, Kayla, for the prompts, and let's get to reading. I will see you guys when I start this book, and I'll tell you more about it at that point. Bye! Hello. Okay, so I have made it 25%, technically 24, but we're rounding up. I made it a quarter into The Sins on Their Bones by Laura R. Samatin. And how do I want to talk about this? It's kind of hard to get into. Hey, mister. I'm kind of having a hard time getting into this one. I think, let me explain the plot that I know so far. So basically in this we are following 3 perspectives. We are following Dmitri, Vasily, and Alexei. They all end in E's. And we're getting these 3 men's perspectives. We have Dmitri, who is royalty, orphaned, and kind of on the run. We're not fully sure what or why or what's like the thing. Oh god, I'm gonna go on so many tangents. This book feels like you are jumping in the middle of something else. Like the story has already happened and this is the sequel. It kind of has that feel to it. So we're following Dmitri, who is with a found family group, and we know that he is royalty, but also kind of maybe left his throne. And we know that he has an ex-husband that he is so down bad for. So this book is so horny. This book is so horny for being Fade to Black so far. So horny, pining, obsessed, just very interesting. Anyway, then we have Valisi, which I feel like I struggle with that name so much, but Valisi is friend of Dimitri and is part of like the found family group, but is also the spy master. And so the spy master has decided that it would probably be best if he sends himself to go snoop out what's going on with Alexei. Alexei is our shadow daddy villain. He is the ex-husband. He is the one who has it all going on. Like, he is truly the plot and character in this entire book. Dimitri is just like sad and lonely and horny and missing his ex-husband, but like obviously couldn't be together. And then we've got Valisi, who is sleeping with Dimitri at times, but they're just friends, and is also like, I'll go figure this out for you, don't worry. And so like they're sad about that. That's it. It's just been like reflecting on how they've gotten where they are without telling me fully what's happened. Like, I'm 100 and probably, I was reading the ebook version, so page count is a little bit off, but it looks like I'm 100 pages into the physical copy. I was like 130 in the ebook. That's all that's really happened, and all we know is that Alexei had power and was kind of like a consort situation with Dimitri, but Dimitri's whole family and the royal family die. And Dimitri's like heartbroken and sad, and Alexei's like, what if we got married? Yeah. So they get married. Dimitri's sad boy hour all the time. And then Dimitri becomes king because obviously when all of the royals die, that's what happens, and it changed the power dynamic in their relationship. Again, so horny. So we have Dimitri, who is sub, who wants to be babied, who wants to be controlled and told what to do, wants to please, and likes to sleep with Valesi because Valesi reminds Dimitri of Alexei. It's messy, it's sticky, it's gay. And so I am fine with it. So like, it's fine so far. I don't have any connection to any of the characters. I really only care about Alexei's perspective. Alexei is the most fascinating. So this author is Jewish and wants to write books with Jewish mythology or folklore. I don't really know a whole lot about Judaism, so I don't want to like sound too ignorant, but I find it interesting that I think my issue is I don't know what the direction we're heading. I'm dating somebody who's very religious, so I am like trying to read in between the lines and like figure out what's going on with Alexei. But basically, Alexei is overall a villain, truly just like a villain. Alexei is working on gathering. I don't know how to explain it. Alexei's mission is to turn people by experimentation in the holy science, because he communes with God and therefore kind of also thinks he is God, and wants to create generals to help lead his army. And he's trying to recruit villages and have villages give all of their food rations to the army, and trying to recruit any youth to become part of the army. War seems to have ravaged the land, and it seems a lot of it is because of Alexei. I don't really know much more than that. Like, again, 100 pages in, and I don't have a whole lot of backstory to really go off of. And so that part, I'm kind of like, what's the point? Like, obviously we have like this enemies to lovers situation where it's like Dimitri and Alexei cannot stop thinking about each other, but are also hooking up with other people and have some like questionable dynamics with other people. But like, what is the point? I don't know. I think Alexei is the most fascinating because it's like, why do you think you're God? Who is it you're really talking to? So like, I'm trying to like read in between the lines of the religious subtext or overt text. I'm not really sure with Alexei, but it seems like Alexei is hearing the voice of God, but God is like telling him to do bad things, which is like, okay, so maybe Alexei is actually communing with the devil. But like, I don't know enough about religion to begin with to be like, is that the angle of this book, or like what? I know that this is a dark fantasy. I know it's queer. That's kind of all that I've known going into it. Dmitri used to be king of Novosibetsevo. Now he is merely a broken man, languishing in exile after losing a devastating civil war instigated by his estranged husband, Alexei. And hiding with what remains of his court, Dmitri and his spy master, Valisi, engineer a dangerous ruse. Valissi will sneak into Alexi's court under a false identity to gather information, paving the way for the Usper's downfall, while Dimitri finds a way to kill him for good. So that's kind of like where we're at, except for Dimitri has not said anything at all about killing Alexei. So I'm scared to like read the next 2 paragraphs because I'm scared it's going to give too much away. Dimitri has not given us any inclinations that he has any interest in killing Alexei, except for like Alexei's doing bad, and so he's like, yeah, like out of obligation, I feel like I must so I can reclaim my throne. I haven't gotten that vibe from Dimitri whatsoever that he has any interest in stopping or killing Alexei. Like, obviously maybe stopping, but again, like, Alexei's not really doing anything either. Like, he's just getting an army together, and it seems like Alexei wants to find Dimitri. But, like, I think my issue with this so far is that we're not getting a lot of motivations as to, like, why the characters feel the way they do or, like, what's going on. We have learned something very interesting about Alexei's character, which I don't want to give away. But stopping Alexei is not so easy as plotting to kill an ordinary man. Through the preservations, the holy science, Okay, so it does tell you what happens to Alexei. Okay, so, like, I'm kind of confused. It does tell you what's going on with Alexei in the synopsis, so I could, but I feel like because you learn that 20% into the book, like, it feels a little bit like something exciting to learn later on, so I don't really want to spoil it. If you're really interested, you could read the synopsis and you can figure it out, since I don't want to spoil this book for anybody, but it is just, like, an interesting choice that it's not... The character's thoughts and motivations is told in third person. The character's thoughts is not really aligning with what they're saying or actions that they're doing, and that kind of bothers me a little bit. And then knowing that Dimitri is apparently coming to love the spy master, who is now going to the enemy, which is the husband, but this also mentions that there's demons, which means that, like, okay, so he is talking to the devil and not God. I don't know. I don't know what the angle is. I'm not sure what the point of it all is. I find that the world building is interesting, but it's not the most unique or stand out for me. Like, it's just, like, it's a fantasy world. There's words that I'm not familiar with. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Moitsar means my king. So that was fun to learn. But other than that, there's not, like, anything crazy happening in the world building. It just feels very 19th century, very 1800s, which is okay, but not, like, it's not really giving a whole lot, okay? So I don't know how I feel. I'm not having a bad time. I'm definitely going to finish this as my 150th book, but I don't know if it's going to really to reach, like, a 5-star territory. I think I'm also probably missing a lot of historical context, seeing this is, like, set in a Jewish folklore-inspired reimagining of 19th century Eastern Europe. I feel like I might not know some of the historical stuff. I don't really know a lot about, like, religion and so on. I'm trying to go into this just, like, open-minded, good faith. Like, I like religion in books, even if I don't partake in religion myself. But it is always, like, you know, interesting to see the direction in which conversation is going to happen. I'm losing brain cells trying to talk about this. Anywho, I have 3.5 hours left. I've got 3/4 to go. So I will get this finished either tonight or tomorrow at the office, but I'm not loving it, which is upsetting. I really wanted this to be, like, a new favorite, a best thing ever. It sounds really good, but I think it sounds better than it actually is so far, which feels mean to say, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I just wanted to check in and let you guys know so that we're on the same page. I'm going to keep reading, obviously, but yeah, you know, it is what it is, and that's okay. But I would love to get this finished tonight or early in the morning because I have to finish another book that is going to be due, and then I have to start packing for vacation. I got a lot of things to do. So I will be physically reading this or using, like, the ebook and audiobook to read this, but I would like to get it done sooner rather than later, just because I need to keep up with my Libby demands. And also, I'm going to be, again, on vacation-ish, so I want to have, like, some more fun reads for that, less dark stuff. Also, like, appropriate to read in front of family type books, because I have, like, The Devils, but again, like, I'm dating somebody who's very religious, their family is religious. I don't know, like, they're not gonna say anything if I'm like, yeah, I'm reading books about sin and the devil. Like, they're not gonna say anything. They don't care. But at the same time, it's easy to just avoid that stuff. So that's where we're at. That's where I'm at. I just had dinner. I'm watching some Cloud Ward Ho on dropout, and I am working on some projects, waiting for Austin to get home. So I'm gonna, I think, start packing now while I watch this, and then I will crawl into bed and read some more. I think that's my plan for tonight. So you probably won't see me tonight, but I will check in with you guys tomorrow. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. It's kind of been a few days even, if not maybe closer to a week. At the point of starting this video and having now finished the book, I don't want this to be just such a bad negative video. I don't typically do rant reviews. I don't typically do like singular book reviews unless maybe I really like it. But I was really I didn't I don't want this video to just be like pure negativity and bad, and I don't want to like obviously scrap the video because I think the scavenger hunt's so fun, but here we are. Anyway, in between starting this video and finishing the book, I went to the lake with family, and it was so beautiful, so peaceful, so nice. The nature was exquisite. The weather was comfortable. There was a lake nearby that we visited on the first day, and it was just a lot of fun. The house was fantastic. We went to Red Cone Lodge. It's a bed and breakfast, incredible hosts. We just had an ultimate blast. I got to sit outside on a lovely porch. I got to sit on a beach. I got a little sunburn. I finished this book. I finished another book. I made progress in a third book. So there was like a lot of fun going on. The boys, I wouldn't say loved it because they are not really good travel dogs, especially Severo. But it was just like a nice break, a nice getaway. I'm still like in the trying to get back into life, like routine and just doing stuff and being productive. I'm still kind of in vacation mode. I didn't really have any desire of going back to work. But it was really peaceful, really nice. One book that I finished, the only other book, I've been in a bit of a reading slump since finishing this. The only other book that I've really finished since this one, because I just don't want to read anything, was This Princess Kills Monsters, and that was so much fun. I highly recommend it. It's a satirical fairy tale type adventure story following a princess, and it was just so comical and funny. I really liked all the characters. You would think that having finished a 4-star book, I would still want to read things, but I can't escape the hell that The Sins on Their Bones has caused me. So here we are. The Sins on Their Bones by Laura S. Samutin. This does not have a lot of ratings, and if you're interested in it, I don't want to dissuade anybody from picking it up, but I think the author, the publisher, Owl Crate even, all kind of did quite a disservice to this book, not starting with proper trigger warnings. There is a note, and it says there's themes of intimate partner violence, sexual abuse, PTSD, anxiety, depression that can follow life traumas. These are topics treated, I hope, with sensitivity. I have also chosen as an author not to flinch away from the reality of what so many of us have experienced. I trust that if you are not ready to face these topics, you will save the story for another time when it will heal instead of harm. No. If your book is going to have, like, depictions of sexual assault or just really horrific abusive relationships, there are so many things that this needed proper trigger warnings for, and having to go to an author's website I don't think is the right way to do it. I think saying, oh, these are just themes that I'm handling with sensitivity and care, and like they're just touched on. No, just because this is a character-driven book does not mean that you don't need proper trigger warnings for graphic scenes. This book is gratuitous. This is a dark fantasy. There is so much sex in it that I can't in my right mind call this a romantasy, but it is character-driven, romance first. Oh god, I don't even know where to begin. I'm getting mad all over again. First thing, though, that made me really mad was the lack of transparency with the triggers and content in this book. You read it and you think that we are following three perspectives. We've got Dimitri, we've got Alexei, and we've got Vasily. I will get into each of them on their own time. But the way that it's set up, it sounds like there's a love triangle. There's Dimitri, who's grappling with his ex-husband and still, like, desiring him and loving him, but it's complicated, and you learn more as to why. And I'm not going to spoil things to the best of my abilities, because if you want to read this, I want you to have at it. But But then we also hear that Dimitri is also in love with his spy master, which is Vasily. And so you're like, oh, is it going to be like a cute little like love triangle, but also like a redemption arc? Like there's going to be a second chance romance. They're going to come back together. No. That's not really what this was. I think the expectations from the synopsis with the poor content warnings, I think just made a disaster of a book. I think that it just set this up for big failure. I see a lot of people who have stuck the book out have enjoyed it, and I'm so happy for people who have rated this highly. A lot of people that I agree with have given it 2 or 1 stars, and a lot more have DNF'd it. And I am pro DNFing this book. I really should have, but I wanted, my 150th book. I had done the scavenger hunt. I'm also like bad at DNF. Leave it to my camera to die right at the beginning. This is a character-driven story, which is not my personal jam, but it's not like something that's going to make me not read a book, but it's not my favorite. I like to have plot, I like to have a lot going on, but if it's going to be character-driven, I need a lot of conversations to be happening, and I need to care for the characters at least a little bit. I hated each and every one of these men. They are hot garbage. I don't get it. I never liked it. Not a single one of them ever did anything for me. The writing of this book on its own, I don't think is good. I don't think that the author did anything special with the writing. I don't think the author knows how to handle like show versus tell, how to balance character and plot. It was truly like because this book starts at the end of a first book that we never see. I think if this was a sequel, I think it would make plenty of sense, and I think I could probably be more on board. But a giant war happens. A lot happens between Dimitri and Alexei, which is why they're no longer together. You don't get to see any of that. You don't get to see this big war. You don't get to see like the civil war, the ramifications on the land. You have Dimitri and his friends who were king. Dimitri was king, and Alexei, ex-husband, was also of power. And once the power dynamics changed, there was a coup, and a civil war broke out. Dimitri fled with his friends and spy master, and they live in such luxury in the middle of nowhere, just them on their own, thriving, having like whatever lavish food they want. They're all like sleeping well. Heavy, big, gigantic trigger warning for addiction in this. Dimitri is an alcoholic and uses other substances to cope with basically being a coward and fleeing from the war and just like leaving his position of power. And he's got a lot of trauma, and I understand that like you can have traumatized characters, but it's so all in like it's all he ever thinks about is just like what he's done wrong, and all of his friends just have to cuddle him. But we'll get to it. The plot, again, I'm gonna get on so many tangents. I am bad at this for this reason. Dimitri flees with his friends. They're living in lavish, and nothing is happening. Their entire 70% of the book, Dimitri and Vasily's chapters are basically just being like, let's party, let's have sex, but pretend that you're Alexei because I'm traumatized and I can only have sex with him. Like, it's just abusive and gross, and the way that they treat each other and act towards each other just never worked for me, and I'm somehow supposed to believe by the end of the book that they're going to fall in love. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But the plot of this really comes from Alexei. Alexei is a truly unhinged villain, and not in a fun, cute way. Like, I like romantasy. I love a villain POV. I love rooting for the villain. I love, like, simping over a villain. This villain is just horrible and awful in the worst ways, does some of the most heinous things that you could ever imagine, and I have to read his perspectives, and he is the only one giving plot. He's the only one that has a motivation or a goal. Like, he's obviously, like, come into more power and wants even more and is working on these, like, science experimentations. I cannot even get into this book when it comes to, like, the religion aspects. I'm not Jewish. I don't understand the culture enough. I don't understand the religion enough, so I don't really want to speak on it a whole lot. But from a religious standpoint, of somebody who has had a lot of interest in Christianity and a lot of conversations with a partner who is Christian, I do not know from a religious standpoint what this book was trying to say. It didn't connect dots in my mind. I don't think representation in this book was necessarily good. I don't really want to speak on it. It's meant to be a queer normative story, and the queer characters felt very caricatures, but also like bad stereotypes, but also just like unnatural and kind of still unwelcoming, like, it doesn't feel, like, normalized to the sense of, like, it's fine. It's just, like, this friend group was queer, and the king was queer, and so, like, people were, like, whatever. But there's still, like, misogyny, and I guess those aren't necessarily, like, one and the same, but, like, the way that we just talked about, like, adoption or women just felt a little bit a few times. Plot lacked. Alexei was the only one with the plot, and it was interesting until he became such a villain. I was like, oh, I don't actually really want to be with him either. But it was the only thing that kept this book going. The other two are just, especially Dimitri, is so fucking pathetic. And coming from a girl who has dealt with sexual assault and relationship traumas, I understand being at, like, a rock bottom, and I could never imagine being, like, the reason a war happens, and, like, like, I get that that's a lot of extra added layers, but there's, like, ways to navigate that, and I don't think the way that we talked about, like, an alcohol dependency or using, his consensual, but, like, not fully yeah, I don't know. The way that Dimitri coped with the traumas and stuff isn't something that, like, I could relate to, and being somebody who has done, like, stuff, like, I've done drugs, so, like, I can't sit here and be like, it's never me, but, like, there's just, like, a lot of, like, reflection that's missing, a lot of self-awareness that's missing, a lot of commentary that's missing. It was just sad and pathetic, and I was like, get over it, you fucking privileged man. Like, I just was mad with him a lot. I didn't understand the lore, I didn't understand the magic system, I didn't understand so much of what this book was trying to be. I think that we were focusing so hard on the characters that we, like, just forgot that other things needed to exist. Like, I don't understand the world at all. There's no map. I couldn't tell you, like, where Dimitri is versus where Alexei is, where, like, all of these villages that have gone into poverty because of this war are. We just know vaguely that things are happening, and I'm just like, I just needed more. As somebody who loves fantasy, I need more world building, I need more lore, I need more magic. I think that there could have been so many cool elements to this story, and I've seen positive reviews saying that they really enjoyed the magic system, or even some negative reviews still liking the magic system. So maybe it was just a me thing because, like, I couldn't get into it. But I loved being in the library. I like the found family group. I just wish that we got to see more of the beginning. I wish that there was a book before this one where I got to see the war, I got to see the friends coming together, and, like, the dynamics between everybody making sense to me. I just needed so much of that. I wanted to know more between Alexei and Dimitri, and, like, why their marriage didn't work out, and, like, the way that their abusive relationship happened. I just wish that there was more to learn about that at the beginning, because we're jumping in again at the middle of a book, so I just didn't understand why I would care about these characters. It just felt like the author knew these characters so well, so deeply. She understood the world, even though she's not telling it to us. She knew everything, and so she just wrote what she wanted, and nobody said, hey, none of this makes sense. Like, we need way more context to have an appreciation, but that might just be me. Who knows? So, with that said, let's get into why I hate these characters so much. Again, without spoiling everything, especially the end of the book, because their decisions are made. So, we have Dimitri, ex-king, who was married to Alexei, current king, by marriage and coup. Dimitri is pathetic, lusted after by two different men, and has the personality of wet cardboard. Like, there's nothing going on. There is nothing inside his head. It is just sex, vodka. Dimitri was so boring to follow. He wanted to sleep with Valisi, and only because he could be domed, and he reminded him of Alexei, and that's the only way that he could get off. He just wanted to be a little sub and have a good little time as a bottom. And it's like, I don't need that. I don't need to be here for it. There was so much sex in this book, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, like, to each their own. I personally want my sex scenes to be more metaphorical, of, like, not using graphic detail or disturbing imagery. I just like cute little smut in my fairy books type of thing. And I also still want it to be short and far and few between. I need a sparse smut book because I don't really like sex that much, and so reading this much about it in, like, such detail, knowing that it's also, like, toxic and harming each other, like, emotionally and mentally and physically at times, like, it was just too much for me. And I know that's, like, a personal thing, but it just, like, was not it for me. I could not get behind the sex scenes in this. And they start out fade to black. They start out slow and they just get worse as you go. And then you get flashbacks to previous sex scenes that are like not really consensual, but they're gonna tell you that it's consent, so it's fine, but it's not fine. It's just weird and uncomfortable. This whole book is just weird and uncomfortable. Okay? So Dimitri is going through it, and I want to give empathy and grace to him, but there's just, like, no point. All of his friends coddle him so much. Like, this is a grown man who was running a kingdom. And I understand that, like, the reason that he became king was traumatic and sucks, and I will give him space for that. But all of his friends are like, it's not your fault. Nothing is your fault. You've never done anything wrong in your entire life, Dimitri. Like, you are so perfect and good. Sorry? He doesn't have a backbone, and he's supposed to, like, rule a country, a kingdom, a whatever, and you're telling me that, like, it's not his fault that there was a coup and he fled and cowered away and, like, didn't want to end it. He just wanted to leave and doesn't want to help anybody, doesn't have any, like, sense of responsibility to, like, go back or to help the villages around. Like, they're, again, living in luxury. They have every food that they could ever want. They are feeding him just so much food just to make sure he's okay, while the villages around them are in poverty, having to give all of their food sources to Alexei and all of their kids to the army. Like, there's so much not great happening in the world that we never really see. And I'm supposed to feel bad for Dimitri because he's a little sad boy? No. And then moving on to Valissi. He is the spy master for Dimitri. He was kind of added a little bit later on, so Alexei doesn't know that he's working with Dimitri, doesn't know that he's a spy master, which I feel like something in that gap there doesn't make any sense to me. Like, how was he the spy master, but it came the spy master, like, during the war? Sure. Okay, whatever. Valissi tries to move the plot forward a little bit. Like, there's some things going on. He is down bad for Dimitri. He's, like, so obsessed. He's like, oh, God, I just wish he would love me for me and not me because I remind him kind of Alexei, his ex-husband, who's bad. Insane mental gymnastics. There's so many, like, especially at the beginning leading up of Valissi that I just did not care because it's just centered around Dimitri so often. But eventually he's like, hey, you know what's really gonna help and work towards fixing things, because Dimitri doesn't care about fixing things, but Valissi is like, what if I infiltrate Alexei, who is, like, calling the request of this specific bloodline for his experimentations. Not gonna get into that, but basically is like, I'm gonna be a little spy master, I'm gonna join the ranks, I'm gonna, like, get in with Alexei. I may or may not sleep with Alexei, you'll just have to wait and see, but, like, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but, like, it's not because I want to. Okay, but yeah, he's basically trying to get intel by going to Alexei, and there's, like, this cool magic system of, like, the dream drugs that basically mind link them together, and so at night, sometimes if they allow it, they can, like, talk, and so that way no one would get caught, and Valissi could easily share information with Dimitri. Fine, cool. Valissi has his own dark, traumatic stuff that is sad and heartbreaking and handled so poorly, and I think just, like, the dynamic between Valissi and Dimitri is gross and bad, but at least there's something happening there. Like, some plot is trying to happen, but honestly, boring, bad, uninteresting. And then you have Alexei. Alexei is your big bad villain who does questionable things, abuses and manipulates people. Ivan is his current concubine, basically his plaything, and it's disturbing. Ivan is Dimitri's younger half-brother, I think, and I just poor Ivan. That is an unfortunate thing. But it's not just that, like, Alexei is a brooding, sad, like, deep villain that, like, does morally gray, questionable things. No. He is, like, the worst kind of evil. Like, he's a groomer, he is an abuser, he's a rapist, like, he is all of the really bad things, and on top of that is experimenting on people and trying to create an army and is talking to God, but he wants power, and there's, I guess you can, like, try and make a conversation of, like, how power can corrupt people and whatever. But he's just gross. He's just bad. He's just an evil man. It's not like a fun hot villain that you're, like, kind of rooting for. Where you're like, well, we could fix him. We can change him. Like, no, he just is bad. And so I just, like, really struggled with having to be in his head and see, like, the things that he was doing. I just didn't feel good about any of it. It just made me feel very icky and kind of sad. And so I didn't like being with Alexi, and I think more of that like bad representation is like Alexi is the only like fully gay character and is the groomer. There's another character who's trans that like says that they'll die in the end because nobody cares about them. Like there's just like a lot of like, obviously it's dark and it's sad, but there's just like weird, like there's an asexual character. I love asexual representation. I love to see it. I love to see myself in a book. Not this way. She fully walked in on Valissi and Dimitri having sex and just like stood there and was like, can you guys like wrap this up? Like we have a meeting to attend. Could not be me. So cold, so gross. I didn't like the representation in this book. I don't think it really did well. I'm not going to speak on the Jewish representation and like the stereotypes of that because again, that's not me. I don't have the right to speak on it. There's definitely reviews that you can read on Goodreads that talk about it though. But that's like a lot of my main critiques for this book. It truly was not fun, not enjoyable to read. I'll appreciate the narrators. There were 3 narrators for each of the men whose perspectives we flip back and forth. It will always be in the order of Dimitri, Valissi, Alexi, I believe. And it will always be in that cycle. Even when you don't need to switch perspectives, you're going to anyway because suspense or whatever. Like, I can't stand it. I don't like even chapters. I want my perspectives to flip-flop when it's necessary to the plot. When it feels needed or important, when there's a piece of the puzzle that I need to learn, we can switch. I don't like the every other chapter you have to be with them. That's like the main thing that I didn't like. Another thing, a Goodreads review brought to my attention that on our author's Instagram account, she apparently had a pre-order bonus chapter of Dimitri and Alexi having sex. And wanting to say that, like, this book is trying to be sensitive to abuse or whatever, it feels really bad and gross to write a sex scene between an abusive relationship partner dynamic and use that to market your book. Because they don't get back together. They still have love for each other and it's complex. But I think it's really gross to do that. I think it's really gross to be like, hey, just in case you, like, wanted a sex scene between the villain and the good guy and wanted to see what their relationship was like beforehand, not in the flashback that's non-con, dubious consent scene, because like he technically says it, but it's not, it's kind of like a manipulative, not good way. So it's just icky. It doesn't feel good to promote your book that way, you know? Like, I hope that makes sense to people. And I'm not going to get into age gaps because I can't. Yeah, I don't want to get more into the sexual assault stuff, so we're gonna just skip along. I guess like that's kind of where this ends. This ends with learning about the marketing strategy for this book being disgusting. There is a sequel. I will not be touching it. I have no desire. I really hated this book. Here's the thing. It's so difficult because it's like, yeah, in theory, I would love to sell this very pretty copy. I think it's gorgeous. Would love to sell this copy and get money in compensation for the fact that I had to read it and like put time and energy into this, but also like I don't want to recommend this to people and like have people pick it up. So that's also difficult, but like I don't want to put it in like a little free library or donate it and like somebody stumble upon it without knowing what they're going to get into. So I feel like at least if I sell it on like Pango or something, I could at least be like, hey, trigger warning, but then like maybe nobody would buy it. So I don't know. Tell me what to do with this stupid book. I don't believe in getting like burning books or throwing them away or whatever. It's in perfect good condition. I didn't even physically read it or touch it. So I don't know what to do with it. But I have the book, unfortunately. I don't think it's Owl's Crate's fault, but I am kind of mad at them for giving me this book, for recommending it, for not forcing a more in-depth trigger warning list. I think that Owl Crate should do better, being that this is something that they're standing behind. I don't think that this is going to be bad for everybody. I think I just like really had a bad time with it, which is unfortunate for being my 150th. It's like my big milestone goal for the year that I hit. It's nice that I hit it in July, but it is really unfortunate to hate a book so much. I initially was going to give it 2 stars because I was like, well, there's some good, but the more that I've sat on it, the more angry I've gotten about it. I just can't get behind this book, cannot get behind the series. So I'm not saying like don't read it if you don't want to, but honestly, if you stuck to the end this long, you probably aren't gonna be that interested in it. But I mean, maybe you have a morbid curiosity and you want to know like what it is specifically I'm talking about. To each their own. But yeah, that unfortunately concludes this negative, sad video. Not my intention, not what I've planned to do. I try to keep these usually like books that I'm really excited about, books that are anticipated releases or whatever. And the fact that I got Bones to be the word, and there were so many options that I was pretty excited for, and I thought I was so excited for, I was excited for this one. I thought this one was good. This has been like, anytime I saw it on the list, I was like, ooh, I really want to read that one, since getting it, because it just sounded great. So it's not entirely my fault. I did think I was going to like this and it was going to be a good time, but unfortunately, that's not how it turned out. And that's okay. At least we read another book off my shelf. At least we can unhaul something. Like, there's good to be in here. And I had a beautiful lake trip. So really, that was the true win. Finishing this audiobook, sitting on that gorgeous, gorgeous blue lake, was soul crushing. I hated the end. I hated, honestly, justice for Ivan. Like, it was just really unfortunate. So yeah, that is unfortunately the end of this video. I'm so sorry for the downer of it. I have changed my rating to be 1 star. I will type up my little review for it on Goodreads and call it a day. And hopefully, besides the end of the year when I talk about my worsts, and I mention this one and I show you this video, besides that moment in time, I'm excited to put this book behind me and not think about it again and not worry about it or anything of the sort. I'm sorry to this author. Please, God, don't ever watch my videos because I don't really want to give humans bad times because they write bad things. That's not fair to them. And I'm sorry to this author who's using their writing as cathartic exercises and really putting their heart and soul in their experiences into their characters. Don't do that. Maybe take a step back and say, hey, should be private, because yikes. Hate reviewing a book that is based in an author's truth in some way and then having to shit on it. So, yikes for me. Sorry about that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wish that I at least had like more fun energy to talk about how much I did not like this book, but it's really just put me in a bad mood for a few days now. Like, it's moments like these where I'm like, wow, YouTube is really hard. It's like you read a bad book and then you just like can't move on from it. But we're getting closer to the time that I can move on, and I hope to pick up something really great here soon. I've got like honestly quite a few bangers on the TBR coming up, so hopefully we get some wins. Honestly, at this point, like, I feel like I should just read Silver Elite, just like knock it out, and then like have at least a good time, even if it's awful and I have so much shit to say. It's just, I need something so very different that really makes me fall back in love. So I guess since this was a dud, maybe I need to, since I'm working on projects already, but maybe I need to, like, in the background, work on this video ends when I get a 5 star. Just so that I can remember that reading is good and fun. I'm just, like, on a bad streak lately. But it's a new month now. It's August now. So, hopefully, with August, I will have nothing but a good month. Okay. I hope you also have a good month. I'm gonna stop rambling. I've been yapping for too long. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for making it to the end. If you did, I greatly appreciate you. I know that this one was a downer and not the best of a video, but hey, what can you do? Sometimes you just gotta be in your hater era, and hopefully once summer ends and it's not so hot, I will be a super docile little butterfly again. Oh my god, I didn't even tell you, there were so many butterflies at the lake. Not the lake, but like the cabin we were staying at, which was near the lake. Driving home was so sad. I hated every experience of that. But when we were just like walking on the property, because they had like a lot of land and like hills and stuff, so we'd like walk the dogs or go play frisbee, like disc golf, whatever, something magical happened. And a bunch of butterflies, I think, like are migrating or hatched or something. And there were hundreds, maybe even thousands. They're California swale-tailed, I don't know butterfly breeds well. California something like that. I'm so sorry. There were so freaking many of them. They were so magical, and it was an experience I never thought I would have in life, and now that I have, it's truly like been the best thing that ever happened to me. It was so cool. It was mystical. It was just the best thing to ever happen. They were so beautiful. There were so many. I wish that videos really did it justice. Wow, I'm not okay. I wish the videos did it justice, but Austin got a couple good videos or pictures, so I'll show them to you now. But like, oh my god, it was fantastic. It was truly the best experience I could have ever asked for. I love butterflies, so if you made it to the end of the video, you can leave a butterfly down in the comments below for my magical experience. And I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully some positive things from here. We're going to talk about TBRs. We're going to talk wrap-ups. We're going to talk so many reading vlogs. I am so behind on reading vlogs, guys. So I hope you're looking forward to those. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.